right.
Hi, my name's Dallas.
My name is fucking Joe.
And my name's Sam.
And
we do stuff.
We used to.
They used to. I'm doing stuff here.
Me and Joe wanted to see how our New Year's resolutions were going to go, so I asked him if he could not drink for this episode, and I promised in turn to not smoke pot.
Yeah, it's going to be rough for them. I don't know how they're going to do it.
As we're Mr., Man's right here is playing Satan, and he's doing both.
I'm just living my best life. Today, we've got a debate for you guys. One of legends. What is the best gangster movie? Before we get into it, I got to ask you guys, how have you been? It's been a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even our usual night of recording.
Besides today, I've been pretty good. I don't know if you can see this on my arm, but I have antibodies and I am part mutant. And now there's a government agency after me to get rid of my people.
Joe's the reason why 0.00000000002% of people died.
I'm probably the reason why you both have antibodies.
Probably.
I don't want them. Take them back. Gross.
It's your body now.
Yeah. So you're antibody?
Apparently. Antifa.
Just sleep at night knowing you're in a warm blanket of Joe germs.
That sounds so delicious.
That's how his socks sleep.
Like the stiff socks where they're still standing up.
If they could talk.
Yeah. If socks could talk.
Well, they'd probably be too hard and crusty.
Yeah. You get some in the Army, the socks that people would come in, they call them Air Force socks. I don't know why, but they call them Air
You're
Force
off.
socks.
Well, I guess I'm going to hold this mic the whole time since I can't hold the beer.
Aw.
Gotta hold something. As I said for this debate, if you guys want an automatic win, handy's under the table. They can't see what's going on. Oh, yeah, Joe wins. Joe wins. Joe wins.
Yeah.
All right.
Jesus Christ, all you gotta do is blow on it. Barely even got the pants down.
Zoom into his face.
Please, guys, tell me what films you are debating for the best gangster movie.
Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Did you hear Taylor Lautner's not coming back for the fifth one?
Oh,
So sad.
damn it.
Well, maybe it's because he looks,
Like a man.
He's upset because he could get a role in Batman. Anyway, I picked one of my favorite movies, The Bronx Tale. A Bronx Tale.
I also picked one of my favorite movies. I picked Casino.
Royale.
That'll be next week's debate.
Ugh.
Best spy movie.
Ooh,
Dun-dun-dun.
that's a pretty good one.
Thank you.
Well, we'll get started first with a question posed to both of you. Samantha first. What to you makes a good gangster movie?
To me, because this is all, a biased.
Yes, totally subjective.
For me, any gangster movie you watch, it's going to be long. So during all those long parts, there needs to be parts that I look at it and go, wow, this really could have been edited. I don't want that to be, you know what I mean, a theme when I watch these. The music has to be on point, which my movie totally has. The setting, of course, I like when they pick certain things at a time period pieces rather than trying to make like a new, thing happen. So yeah, exactly. So I definitely like the time period. There's so much more fun you can have with something like that. Just trying to fill all those spaces, but not forcing filled spaces, letting an actor's dialogue take over or so forth and so on. You know what I mean? So
I will say that both of your movies are dialogue heavy, which is good in certain spots, and the editing on both are actually really, really good. So I think they both have that going for them. And but Joseph, what to you makes a good gangster movie?
Authenticity.
Authenticity.
Authenticity is one of the biggest things, and the realness. Because if you see a movie and it's just like all the other ones, there's so many mob movies or movies that touch on mob that are so much the same, where they all pretty much have, the bottom line is it doesn't pay to be a gangster, it doesn't pay to break the law and this and that. My movie goes completely different than all the other ones.
I understand the merits that you're speaking on, the realness of the movie and not fitting certain basic ideals. They're both based somewhat on true stories. But I will first ask you, Sam, who was the star of the movie, and why does their role lend it to be the best gangster movie?
Well, you have Robert De Niro. He plays Sam Rothstein, who is an actual person. Again, it's all kind of loosely, it's there. The storyline is there. They have to, they embellish here and there, He definitely takes the cake in this movie because unlike most gangster movies where it's kind of like you learn to just fall in love with this guy that's like a dick, he actually is not a dick. He tried to do, the whole, thing that he was doing, like all the betting and stuff. He tried to, open up a casino, do this, do that. His hands still got a little dirty, because of the people that he knew and the company that he kept.
Yes.
He still couldn't get it out of him. But he definitely was, he played a father in this movie as well. He dealt with a drug addict wife, and that was very hard back then. He still had the script in his head where he needed to still be, dad, husband, keep that, under wraps, keep that.
Trying to keep this isolated.
Right, you're trying to see this guy with this whole other life try to have this normal life, but at the same time you're doing it in multi-mansions and you're having Sharon Stone fucking with her, like, oh my God. I'll get into that later. He interacts with everybody amazingly. You hate James Woods even more.
He's great at that.
Joe Pesci is another one that's in this movie, and their friendship really, you see, the darker side of people in this movie and how, the whole life you kind of just get caught up in and you can't really trust anybody.
Yeah. I like it. I understand. Joseph, who's the lead of your film, and why do you think their performance makes it the best gangster movie?
Well, first of all, Chaz Palminteri is one of the stars. He's the head star. He's also the writer of the movie. Robert De Niro was a director of the movie. Danny DeVito helped direct the movie. This movie is based pretty much on real experiences that Chaz Palminteri had to deal with. And a long time ago, I'm just going to throw this in there just so you know the beginning part, how it came about. He wrote this play a long time ago. One day he was working at a nightclub as a bouncer, and this guy goes, "Let me out, I want to fire you." And he goes, "I heard it a million times." 15 minutes later, he was fired. It was a big TV agent. And he's like, "Oh man, I'm not going to get into this town until I come up with this by myself." And at first he made it a 90-minute one-man play. And then De Niro saw it and he goes, "Oh, people wanted it from him, the script, for the longest time, offering him $1 million, $2 million. And he goes, "Unless I'm the star, I'm not doing it." So then he finally got the movie with De Niro, and they decided how they found the co-star who plays Calogero, which they call him C. They decided they wanted to make this movie straight to how the Bronx really is. So they went around looking for kids that would fit the role, that would have that it factor, and they found him one day at the beach. He walked right up to them and goes, "Oh, you're talent agents?" And he started mimicking Joe Pesci, started mimicking all these people. They liked him right away. And everyone else in that film were as real as you can get. They didn't want regular teenagers from California pretending to be Bronx kids. And I liked how the script and dialogue is even more grittier and realer. And it touches on so many more issues than normal, like Casino would, for instance. It really touches on real Italian American life in Brooklyn, the Bronx, around a time before there was expressways, before there was, before the whole Italian neighborhood changed. And a lot of people really liked it. And also, Robert De Niro is also the third lead, and there's a cameo by Joe Pesci.
Okay, both of the films take completely different, goes towards the gangster genre. Yours is more
60s civil rights era.
Yes, a more personal family story in New York, and yours is on the other coast. And it's more of the gangsters at the height of their power kind of thing.
Kind of where they're still at.
The top guys, not all of them were actually mafia related, but there was a lot of gangster stuff going on.
If they're not related with things of that nature, they're doing other things.
What have you ever seen the opponent's film?
No.
What that he has said so far actually makes you interested in seeing the film?
Nothing.
I get to drink a beer because you're being rude.
Ooh, Joe's starting to sweat.
Okay.
Actually, he's not. I think we found the cure.
Yeah, take my blood.
Tell me about.
It's harder to debate you when you're not sweating.
Tell me about the bad guy in the film. Who is he? Who played the role?
The antagonist?
Yes.
So the antagonist,
didn't I say the bad guy?
Yes. I just like to say it.
I know.
Sorry.
Okay, sorry. Tell me about your film's antagonist.
The film's antagonist.
Yes.
Well, I'll say it in the words of Mike Tyson. So the film's antagonist is basically everybody else. You have a main person, James Woods. He plays the shitty boyfriend of Sharon Stone, the on again, off again, that she can't ever drop or get rid of. Robert De Niro pretty much scoops Sharon Stone up, but she still has a dark past. And this guy kind of just, keeps creeping in here, creeping along. Eventually he starts, paying him off and even like telling him, you need to fuck off. Again, he's trying to keep his life like this. Sharon Stone ends up turning into an abusive mother, an abusive wife. Just a shitty person, alcoholic, you know what I mean? Pill addict, drug addict. She ends up overdosing at the end of the film. And then you have Joe Pesci's character, who's supposed to be his friend, and he keeps getting into troubles, like police troubles. And he's like, dude, you're supposed to be my friend. I'm trying to do the straight and narrow, and you keep fucking coming at me with, and he's, sabotaging his way of life too. So it's almost like the protagonist role the antagonist role just kind of keeps extending, you know what I mean? And then you have, Sam Rothstein and then his daughter. Can't really, say that she's a bitch, like, oh, she didn't ask to be here. And then, he kind of makes an ass of himself, and he has the head of security, what happens? He has the head of security fired, and he finds himself in trouble with the law because he never got certain licenses that he needed to do. So he's his own worst enemy too. All these people bringing light on him doesn't help. So
he's trying to.
Yeah, man.
Keep it down.
You see him.
See it
Go up, and then you see him go back down and up and down, and you're like so happy that he's like, oh, you found a girl. Oh fuck, that's who you found.
Yeah.
You have a great friend. Oh shit, you know what I mean? You're doing good in life. Oh, there it goes. So it's kind of like an up and down.
It's a little roller coaster of sorts.
It really is. It's honestly got one way. Yeah. It's going down.
Yeah, it's not. You peak. What do you say? It would be the beginning peak.
The peak
for him.
The peak of the movie for him is definitely when he first weds Sharon Stone, and they're starting to live the life. You know what I mean? And they're, he gets a show. He gets made because I can't remember the guy's name that's in it. He was also in what is his name? The guy that actually like is the head of the name. I can't ever remember his name. He was in that one movie with Jamie Lee Curtis where they got locked in the basement. Their kids locked them in the basement. I can't remember what.
Eugene Levy?
You know what I mean? But anyway, yeah, he gets somebody to sign off papers. He uses his connections to able to start this whole fucking deal. He meets a girl, he wants to settle down, he wants to have kids. But, he finds out real quick you can't do that if you want to be who you want to be. Especially where they're at, in Las Vegas. Like, come on. That's the city of sin. It
is the city of sin. It's a completely different setting. Just how do you think that your setting helps tell the story?
Everything is perfect. The way they redesigned it, they made it look exactly like how Brooklyn was in that golden age of it, with all that uncertainty with civil rights movement a couple neighborhoods away. There's a black community, the Italian American community, and there was a lot of drama that was going on. Everything they set up was so authentic in that, and it was just that neighborhood. Everything that was going on in that neighborhood and them pretty much protecting their neighborhood. And there was a lot of gangster scenes in it, but it wasn't, I thought it was smart because they didn't go completely the inner workings of the mob. Pretty much, you kind of gave a little bit of rundown in your film. I'll give mine. Right? So pretty much it starts off where Calogero, when he's a young boy, witnesses Sonny, the head guy of the whole neighborhood, whack somebody. And then when the police came, the kid was like, that wasn't him. And what it is you see Joe Pesci for a quick second. You see some guy arguing with him, and then Sonny comes up and shoots the guy in the head. And then that's Chaz Palminteri. And then at the same time, you have his father, Robert De Niro, who's just a bus driver who won't take a handout from anybody. And this movie is really cool because you have Chaz Palminteri that's still looking out for this kid, still making him run cigarettes and do stuff as he gets older. But he really cared about the kid, and he was trying to smarten him up too, while his father hated that he was with him. But his son started reaching that adolescence age where, he can pull. But my movie, with the way the whole set is and the way they filmed everything, it is very, very a raw depiction. Like every Italian American that was around from that era were blown away by how that was done.
What do you think if you were gonna sum your movie up in a sentence or two on what you're supposed to learn from it, what would you say it was?
You're either going to get fucked by the IRS or you're going to get fucked by somebody else.
No matter what, we're always getting fucked.
Mm-hmm. If you want to make money and get ahead of life, just enjoy getting fucked.
Yeah.
Enjoy getting fucked. Whoever you are, you get fucked. You have your name out there, you have money in your pocket, you are going to get fucked. Somebody wants it, somebody wants,
Yeah. Someone's always going to want something from you. Anything from you. You got something, you'll get fucked for it. Mm-hmm. But hopefully you can do a little fucking too,
There is quite a bit of fucking in my movie.
Yeah. There is some fucking. The same thing to you, Joseph.
Can you repeat the question?
How did I word that specifically?
Basically, just give it like a nice little summary.
Not a summary of the film, but in 2 lines, what do you say that you would learn from the film? What you've learned from the film?
Oh gosh,
the meaning of it is.
First of all, with this film, there's so many life lessons you learn. Mm-hmm. In it, there's so many different things. There were so many good quotes in that. For instance, when he asked Sonny, "Hey, Sonny, would it be better to be feared or loved?" And he goes, "Both would be great, but fear lasts longer than love." Mm-hmm. Then they also did the thing where he goes, "How do I know this girl likes me?" And he goes, "What you do is you keep your door locked, you open the door for her, and when you're walking around the back, you look through the back windshield, and if she unlocks the car for you," it's all this old Italian nonsense that's in it. Yeah. The quotes and everything in that movie were phenomenal. And even like when the father keeps telling him, one thing that I always thought was Robert De Niro always kept grabbing his son, always telling him the saddest thing in the world is wasted talent. There was a lot of like deep moments in that film. And a lot what you learn is you pretty much have to have common sense and you stay in your own lane. I always took this advice from the movie. One time he sees this kid Calogero and he goes, "Hey, so where's my $20? This is like 1967. $20 is a lot of money." So Sonny goes, "Come here. Do you like that guy?" "No." He goes, "You want him out of your life for good?" "Well, you just did for $20. And that made sense. So if there was ever anybody that owed me money, I think I got him out of my life for good. I don't have to deal with them. I don't have to see with them again. Even if it was $10, $5, whatever.
Yeah.
Or I could be like that kid from that movie. "I want my $2" throughout the entire movie.
You guys are arguing that these are the best gangster films. What is the most gangster moment in your film, and why is it better than his film?
Besides the casino stuff is just, hey, you cheated, let's break your hands in the back. Did anyone get whacked? Talk about it. Did they get clipped? Did they use those words? Gabagool.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm pretty sure Joe Pesci died in that movie, didn't he?
I believe he did, but I might be getting confused with Goodfellas because there's so much alike.
Well, because that scene from Goodfellas when he gets buried and has to watch the other dude get shot and killed and stuff, that's Goodfellas. Mm-hmm. But Joe Pesci does die in this one as well, but it's more subtle. It's more like a shot in the head in the car. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I think it's something like that. However, Joe's right. I did enjoy the scene where they find people cheating and they take them in the back and they deal with them. Which that
they
way.
Show in every casino movie.
They didn't show it in Ocean's 11.
They showed in that movie with what's his name? And
I love that movie.
Was it Kevin Spacey when he was teaching those kids how to cheat?
Rounders?
No, not Rounders.
21.
Rounders also, and 21. Yeah, it's.
I like those moments though. It teaches you a lesson. However,
it is a very gangster thing.
That didn't happen all the time. Like when you got caught cheating, you know what I mean? Typically they would just be like, you need to go, and they would call the cops, and typically they would file charges. This way, they made sure it would never happen again because they was like, that's too good for people like this because they're just gonna get out in 24 hours and go to the next place and fucking make a wad of money, and then there go the whatever. So yeah, no, he I liked how they knew to look for a pair of people doing it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It was very smart. They didn't just say, "Oh, this guy's cheating," and pull him in the back. They actually made it like, "Oh no, we need all these people in play.
Yeah,
we need this security system." And Robert De Niro was very big, and I did like that part of it too. And that even has gangster little moments to it, where he kind of is just like, "I'm the head of everything," and technically he wasn't, but he was. Yeah. But if like the board came in. He wasn't. But he was. You know what I mean?
Ran it, yeah.
Exactly.
It's a Scorsese movie through and through.
Oh, yeah.
Very well done. That Goodfellas are amazing.
The glasses that fucking he wears throughout this entire movie are so late 70s, early 80s with like rose tint, fucking giant,
almost some Elton John
on his face.
Shit.
The least gangster moment was that sex scene with Sharon Stone and Danny DeVito. That I have to fast forward through it, not because I'm like, oh, just because I'm like, I physically can't watch him take it to somebody, especially Sharon Stone. Like, you bitch, you still looked good.
Is there any kind of real good mafia movies or mob movies that don't have Robert De Niro, Danny DeVito, Joe Pesci, any of those guys?
If I thought about it, maybe.
If I thought about it, maybe too.
Yeah, I'd have to think about it. What is because there's totally different type of gangster movies. I would have went off the wall with some other non-Italian or Irish.
Yeah, but this was the easiest thing.
Well, see, when I heard she was doing Casino, I would have gone with like a British mob movie, but the thing is,
Snatch?
I wanted to compare them because Bronx Tale, I think, is more, especially to Italians. I know it's more important than anything that Scorsese did, because De Niro did something with that movie and Chaz Palminteri. Wanted an Italian movie that didn't make it look like Italians were just these goombas. You know, it showed more of that, which was really, really nice to actually see. It wasn't, you couldn't predict a lot of it.
Sam Rothstein was Jewish.
Yeah, he wasn't in my movie.
What's the most gangster thing in your film?
My favorite scene in the movie that I thought was pretty gangster was when in the neighborhood bar, all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of bikers that pull up into town. Bunch of asshole bikers. A fuck ton of them. So what happens is they go inside.
A fuck ton. Just pour
so
it
they go inside. Am I sweating? Shut up. No. They go in to the bar and right away they're like, hey, let me get a drink. I didn't order this. You know, they're being dickheads. They're starting to smack the guy around behind the bar. So Chaz Palminteri goes up to him and he goes, excuse me, gentlemen, you're disturbing my bar. Could you please go? He goes, go fuck yourself, you wop. And he goes, all right, fine, no problem. And you see him walk out the back door for a few minutes, and while they're trashing the bar, he comes in and he goes up to him again. He goes, sir, really, I need you to leave. The guy goes, get the fuck out of here. So he goes, all right. And there's a narration when this happens, because Calogero is in there, and he goes, I've never seen this many men get this terrified. By himself, he goes up to the door and locks it. You see all these bikers, their face gets nervous. Then before you know it, he walks to the back door, opens it up, and like 40 goombas run in with baseball bats and brass knuckles, and they're really fucking these guys up horrible. Then after they're done, they drag them all out and they smash all their bikes, throw them into them, and then the one guy that's really fucked up, like the head guy, he ends up telling him like, now you'll know to mind your man. It's not going to do Italian neighborhood. And to be an Italian, you hear that, you're like, fuck yeah. And it was so great because when I used to show that movie to like friends that had relatives that were like more like the biker type people, they hated that fucking scene, and I loved it because it was a different level.
It was a different level of gangster. Yeah.
And not to mention, there was also another awesome story. The guys that Calogero grew up with, his friends wanted to. His young friends, not the mafia guys, were beefing with the black neighborhoods, and they were going back and forth. So they wanted to firebomb a place, and Calogero didn't want to say no. He didn't want to let him know that he started to have a crush on this beautiful black girl. So right away, he tries to get in the vehicle, and all of a sudden, Sonny sees what he wanted to say. Sonny pulls Calogero out of the car and smacks him and everything. Those guys left, and when they were trying to set up to light them, all the bottles happened. They all blew up, you know. And then the kid learned that. And before that, he even says to him, well, I like this girl. He goes, so what's the problem? He goes, she's in the wrong neighborhood. What will people think of me? He goes, Calogero goes, half these people aren't going to remember you in a few years, or they're going to be dead in jail. What does it matter? There's only 3 people that you love in life, 3 real women. She could be one of them. Don't let her pass. And it was kind of smart, that movie that was written in the 80s touched on so many little things that was going on in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
And, you know, then there was a couple shootings here and there, you know, people getting their face busted in. But the biggest gangster thing for me was the biker scene.
I like it.
And also, Sonny wasn't really a piece of shit. He really cared about his neighborhood.
He did actually care about it. He was somewhat like a bad guy, but in a way, he was still a good guy.
And I read the Valachi papers a long time ago, the guy who opened up everything about the mafia in the late 60s, 70s. And this is the only movie, too, that touched on they never wanted to mess with, even if he got mad and yelled at them saying, stay the fuck away from my son, they would never hurt Robert De Niro's character, because Robert De Niro, he was a man who never took a dollar from them. He was an honest, hardworking man. And the mafia was like that. But if you even pay for their protection once, then you're dirty.
Yeah.
He never did, and they respected him.
And he was very clean.
And also got that other line, too.
Yeah.
Where he goes, what do you care about? He goes, hey, I got this Mickey Mantle card. He goes, you think Mickey Mantle paid your bills? That's where that quote came from.
How did I want to word this? What was I...
Why are you so bad at picking...
No, it's a good one.
I should have picked Analyze This.
That was actually pretty great. That was really great.
It's really good. How did I want to word this question?
I didn't like Lisa Kudrow in it.
No.
Of course, she picked the non-Italian out of all of them.
Billy Crystal's Italian?
No, he's Jewish.
I was going to say.
Same thing. Pretty close.
No. We are the chosen people. You are not.
Yeah, we're the ones who know how to cook.
These both are obvious gangster movies. Gangsters are supposed to be feared. Why should someone fear the people in your film?
They should fear the people in my film. Not necessarily fear, but like revere them for what they can and cannot do. You know what I mean? And how they can get away with stuff on national TV, pretty much. Just how he started and, got his way to the top, being, again, in the company that he's with. But he would also just kind of like necessarily just kind of take stuff as it would come. You know what I mean? Because he just knew he wasn't, with him being a Jew, nobody likes the fucking Jews. They still don't like the fucking Jews. They didn't like him back then. They don't like him now, but whatever. So he knew, he was going to have to take things slowly but surely. And he just got to a point where, Joe Pesci was kind of an asshole and he wasn't the guy that you wanted to fuck with. And that was his friend. That was his little hot-headed. And he kind of, again, going to Goodfellas, which me and Joe told you
for that one.
We just told each other we can't pick that movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not that that one would win necessarily. It's too much.
It is. It's a lot.
Even my movie's a little much. You know what I mean? But he kind of plays the same kind of like hot-headed character. But he puts them too much in the tabloids and what's going on, and the press is starting to gain popularity right around them. People listen to him a lot. It's hard to, stop everything that's going on. So people would be afraid of him.
They would.
You know what I mean? They knew to get up out of seats and stuff for, Mr. Sam Rothstein because of the company he kept.
It's like...
And he even felt uncomfortable, at certain parts of the movie, like, Jesus Christ, why do these people think that? I'm going to get them whacked, Yeah. So I like that.
I like it.
It was more of a silent thing than actually, like,
just
forcibly, like, you need to fucking respect my authority. Like, they didn't need to say anything. It was shit that I was already done.
Yeah. It's set in stone that it's just the way it is. Joseph, the same thing.
Can you repeat the question?
Gangsters are often feared. Why would anyone fear the people in your film?
Because he had respect from most of the families. Everyone respected him. Every gangster respected him. His own people in that whole neighborhood, they knew not to get out of line because he would find out in a second. He kept his ear to the street. He believed his whole motto was, and his men were very loyal, which in all the other movies you see, they're not, because he had a motto how other people fall. He said, you pay them enough where they love you, but you don't pay them too much that they stop fearing you. He was very good at that. His men would go to like confession, and the priest will say, you could tell me. He goes, Father, I can't tell you. And he goes, trust me, my guy up here is bigger than your God, or your guy. No one's bigger than him. He goes, yeah, but down here, my guy's bigger than yours. And the priest is like, oh, him? You're right.
Yeah.
And everybody knew that he was a guy that was very honest, but you didn't mess with. And if you did get out of line, he'd find out, and you would be done in a second. So in a way, he did keep that neighborhood under a iron fist, but he let all the regular people live how they wanted to. So again, he had the backup from the people. He had the backup from everything. Any of those guys in Las Vegas, nobody cared about them. They were a dime a dozen in a way. Even if you were the higher ups, you would get ratted on, everything. Those guys around that time, they really didn't rat around the 60s. They really didn't. Until the Valachi papers came out, and then it became like a circus. Where it was, we can get good deals. They didn't really cut deals in the 60s. They would just try to beat you up.
Well, that was the thing about my movie. Everybody just kept stealing from everybody. They just kept stealing. Every time the mob would come get their cut from the hotel, it would get taken out and taken out and taken out, and people would fucking talk. And
my guy, they didn't do that because, again, he paid them good enough, but not enough where they're like, they get greedy, but enough where they are very happy and they don't want to fuck anything up.
Well, mine was more realistic.
Mine was actually his was written about Chaz Palminteri's life. He witnessed a murder when he was little, and that's kind of how his life went. Okay. It was that neighborhood then.
They're both based on semi. based on
And
real
my
events.
soundtrack
Mine
was
was based
actually
on-
better. Can we discuss that?
What?
Our soundtracks for both of our movies.
But 100%, please.
Okay.
First, who directed it, and why does that director's talents lend to this film being better?
Well, Scorsese directed it, and he's very good with timepiece, you know what I mean, music. Just depending on where it's taking place, what's going on, and I mean, he had the entire 70s to play with. You know what I mean?
Can't go wrong with that.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it gives almost like a Boogie Nights feel, you know, during certain situations, you know, when people are doing drugs. He'll play like a couple of the, you know, music you'd hear from like Woodstock or something. You know what I mean? He would play more of like that, like weird, go-go dancer shit.
A little more funky.
And then he would play, you know, other stuff that, you know, was more into like the rock, you know, getting here for that. But it was mostly like a disco theme going on throughout the entire thing, just because it fit with the Las Vegas, the gaudiness, you know what I mean? But during certain scenes, you know, certain music would be played and you'd be able very much so to recognize it.
Yeah, it's like the same soundtrack that they did with Goodfellas.
No, it's not.
A lot of the same kind of...
It totally isn't.
It's
Goodfellas
a
was more
Scorsese
like 50s
soundtrack.
style sounding.
It was. Now, see, my movie, it did start in the beginning when it shows them young, and you hear that doo-wop, like guys singing around a trash can, you know. But then it also went civil rights movements. You hear Jimi Hendrix, Creedence Clearwater Revival, and who decided when they saw the movie, they're like, I have to do the soundtrack. It was Tommy Mottola, the head guy who discovered Mariah Carey and everybody, the guy from Sony that he was married to. He was like, you have to let me do it.
So it's his
It
fault.
touches everything.
Every time I hear that Christmas song, it's this fucking guy's fault. And that's going to be your argument?
Until the 70s. If you listen to this, if you watch the soundtrack has a lot of doo-wop in there, but it also has those Vietnam type songs because it's going with that era, and it does touch on, even it mentions a couple times people getting drafted.
Yeah.
You know?
Fogerty's really big on the anti-war.
You know, people in the neighborhood were getting drafted. It touched how that neighborhood was. I mean, your movie is great and all, but when it comes to gangster film, yours was pretty much about the top guys. You know, this is about how
That's okay,
the
too.
real gangsters were, not just not the hard hitters. This was just how it was real life then.
This is how
From
it was back
dialogue
then,
and everything.
too.
Yeah, but they embellish it a little bit more.
Like teeny bits. Yours is going off to some guy.
Robert De
that
Niro's
said
character
this
probably
totally
would have been
happened to
clipped a
me.
long time ago.
They're both highly embellished. What do you think is the most realist thing about each one of your movies? The realest thing.
Well, they had poker in hers. That's real.
Ew, Danny DeVito poked her.
Or
Or Joe Pesci, I mean. Sorry.
No, I was gonna. I don't know which one is worse, really.
Could you imagine them going at it with each other?
That's not what you're supposed to do there. That's not how that goes.
I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
Realest thing in the movie.
Realest thing in the movie, basically Joe even said it, you know, the hierarchy of things, how the hierarchy works. And I feel like that is probably the most true thing, because that, you know what I mean? It's just how things were, you know, and it's how he kept order. And I feel like, you know, that was more of a theme for him. The whole movie is losing that control.
Yeah.
Because obviously, you know, like I said, he wanted to remain hush-hush with his relationship. He didn't want his friendship, you know, to go anywhere, even though he totally should have fucking told that guy to take a hike. I think he started being afraid of him towards the end of the movie, though. And he was, you know, he ended up, you know, I think he's the one that actually had him killed. But yeah, I mean, just the hierarchy of things, getting to know certain people and how they thought and how they worked and how everybody was just out to fuck each other. That's the most realistic part about this movie. You know, and basically at the end of the day, Sam Rothstein, he didn't, you know, get away scotch clean. You know, he got in a little trouble here and there, but he was able to live out his life, you know, by throwing other people under the bus. Again, you fuck people, and that's what happens.
You fuck people. It's a lot of fucking.
You get fucked. You fuck people. It happened.
I agree with you a whole lot. On it's very real, and it's very interesting to see that level behind the scenes of how all these people were just literal pieces of shit for the most part, and they were just up there being swanky, living the good life, and doing whatever the fuck they want.
But then again,
it's really interesting.
But with her movie, when you look at most of Scorsese's movies, that one touched more on the casinos. But the basis, even if you consider it Departed, it all has that thing where the ending, everything goes to shit. You know what I mean? it's like that. There's really no kind of happy ending.
Well, there shouldn't be.
Well, no. It depends. But what I mean is, if you see that movie, Scorsese has a certain wheelhouse that he does. Unless he's executive producing something, that's just him throwing his money at a good script.
Yeah.
But a lot of his movies, you can kind of predict exactly what's going to happen.
It's not going to end well?
My movie was the only really coming-of-age mafia movie.
I mean, it ends well for the audience. It doesn't end well for the characters, not necessarily. You know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
All of his movies kind of have, like, the same kind of, like... It usually ends in a murder, or somebody is living somewhere because they're under, like, what is it called when they hide you from people?
What is it called?
Witness protection.
Witness protection.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, that's basically how all of his movies end. I mean, even the most recent one. No, the
one
4 hour long
Netflix
one on
one?
fucking, you know what I mean? You have fucking dude sitting in an old folks home at the end. It's like, with what he did in his life, why the fuck is he in an old folks home? He should be somewhere, the private nurse. Nope. This is what you get. You know? Yeah. That was a fucked up movie. I can't believe they ate that guy. Fucking asshole.
I didn't watch that one.
That was one about Jimmy Hoffa.
I saw BuzzFeed Unsolved on it 5 years ago. I know everything.
There was a book you paint. Yeah.
Did you know that?
Paint houses.
Did you know Al Pacino looks just like him?
No, he doesn't.
I know.
That was based on the book You Paint White Houses, which that's what they say in the mob. Hey, do you kill people? They say, hey, do you paint houses?
Closing arguments. I'm gonna give you a so many second statement. Joe, you will have a rebuttal. And then you will make a statement, and then Sam will have a rebuttal.
I have my butt.
Buttle.
Boo boo.
Just a closing argument on why your movie is the best gangster movie. Samantha, give it to me.
Well, let's talk about how amazing my movie is with actresses such as Sharon Stone and Robert De Niro. Okay.
Sounds like my movie.
It didn't have like an all-star cast, and that's also what I do like about this movie. It let the people in it that are, you know what I mean, as best as they can be, because there's better than Robert De Niro. Sharon Stone was, in that time, because she had just finished Basic Instinct, she could play a crazy fucking bitch, and I really like that. And again, I think that Martin Scorsese has like some kind of hard-on for fucking crazy bitches, because I've seen that. That's also another theme in his movies.
Yeah, it's always a crazy girl. It's like, yeah, keep her.
I like the script that it ran to. I liked how it would just kind of went dun 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 dun, but it was fun the entire time.
Yeah.
Every time you thought, oh my god, it can't get worse, it does. It's a very uncomfortable, cringy movie. You're just kind of riding this roller coaster, experiencing everything with him, hating new characters. But I also like that, because in a bunch of movies we've brought up in the past, like Back to the Future, the guy that plays Biff, you don't like him, but he did that.
But
like, he acted so well to make you not like
to hate
him.
him.
Exactly. And I feel like this movie kind of does that. It makes you hate everybody else that you actually feel sorry for fucking Robert De Niro, who's doing it to himself all along.
You're like, you shouldn't feel bad, but fuck.
Yeah, but fuck. You kind of just get to watch a guy get everything and lose it. Again, another theme that I do like in movies. I like to see people just get everything and lose it. It kind of reminds me of, what's that one movie where the guy took the pill every day to make him smart?
Limitless.
That's it kind of like has like a Limitless, even though Limitless did end happy.
Yeah, it did.
It did.
It did end happy.
I want to try one of those.
Yeah, right.
You have it?
NCT. Yeah, NCT.
Yeah, DCT. But no, that's basically why it's my favorite. I don't know, it's so long, but it's so just easy to watch. You know what I mean? It's just such an easy watch, and I don't know, you're kind of on your toes. You're thinking, oh, it's gonna get, oh fuck,
It's gotta get.
fuck,
no.
fuck. No, and I mean, I like how they go through the time periods, and again, Robert De Niro, his glasses. I still want a pair of those, but I need contacts first.
Watch the movie for his glasses is what she's pretty much saying.
Edith. Joseph,
nothing else if not for
rebuttal.
the glasses.
Actually, I'm not going to rebuttal. I'm going to go right into. I'm just going to
The
go
closing
into
argument.
why my movie I think is better.
Okay.
When you watch a lot of mob movies or movies like that, it's more like fantasy to a lot of people. A lot of people watch it and they can't relate, but they just watch someone's crazy world going on. This movie gives you that, and it also gives you an understanding of what exactly it was like, how you got into it, what it was like being from that neighborhood, even if you were not even if you were not Italian, you don't even understand the culture. Like I said, you just watch it for fantasy and watching like an action story or something. This really hits you on every level. There's emotional levels in it. There's funny parts in it. And I understand this as an Italian kid, especially when I was real young. My mom would tell me things when he meets that girl finally, and she goes, hey, we should start dating. He goes, hey, do you know how to make sauce? And that was like a big thing in an Italian family, and it touched on that. It made you feel with the father. It even made you understand Sonny, there was Chaz Palminteri. You ended up loving that neighborhood, and you loved everything about it. Unlike her movie, it is like watching, a lot of people cannot relate to that movie. This movie anyone born in that era could relate to it. Even if you watch it now, there's so many life lessons in there that are actually really, really good. And you're still getting a mob film out of it. And I don't know many mob films that actually do that, except for when the ultimate thing is, oh, being in the mob is bad. You die and go to jail. Bad, bad, bad. And people rat on you. This actually showed how it really, truly was. And in fact, they even had characters in there that, there's this guy that's really bad luck, right? Mm-hmm. And there was this guy that he wanted to copy after that. All the mob guys hated him because wherever he showed up, he was bad luck. They would lose games. Yeah. So they found out that guy was still alive, and they put him in the movie, which was great. And in my movie, it's not so much a star-studded cast, even though it's De Niro and DeVito helped him because that's his first directing debut, and he did a good job. But it was all Chaz Palminteri script, and it had to stick to that way. And I love the fact that, unlike her movie, they really went with a lot of no-names, and they acted their heart out, and they did a good job. On another note, though, Lilo Braccato, that played C, he was in a lot of movies. He was in Renaissance Man. He was in a lot of movies for that time being. Now I think of it, that was a Danny DeVito movie. But anyway, about 15 years ago, him and his friend went to go rob a house because he got on pills, and a New York police officer got shot and killed. So he ended up doing 10 years. He didn't get the murder charge. He got the armed robbery charge. But before that happened, when he was real young, De Niro used to go to his house all the time, and Palminteri, and warn him, you're starting to get all these roles. And he warned his parents. He can go either the right way. Yeah. And pretty much in the movie, his life should have went how it was supposed to be in the movie. But instead, it's like he took Sonny's other advice, and he said that's the part that gives Chaz Palminteri chills. That has nothing to do with why my movie is better. But the whole history of it, the making of it, it's pretty amazing how it got taken off the ground. But again, if you're watching a movie and you really want to understand what it was like in those days, how they got to that point, and why it was so important in that era, you have to watch the movie. I mean, what other mob movie is going to talk about race relations? It's going to talk about Vietnam, everything that's going in that area. Usually Italian movies, my last thing I'll say is, they only stick in one little thing, and they throw in a little side characters from outside of the neighborhood. This thing was a complete full circle. Sam, rebuttal me.
Sounds like Joe was talking about a gangster Forrest Gump.
No,
correct
not
me if
at
I'm
all.
Wrong.
Nothing like Forrest Gump.
No, his movie does hit all of those points, and very
the same as Forrest Gump.
Well, Forrest Gump is a really good movie.
Forrest Gump is a really good movie, but it's not a good gangster movie, is it?
It wasn't about a retarded gangster that wants to run.
Exactly. Why are you talking about your movie like that?
I'm not. I'm just saying it's a really good movie. Your movie is more.
My movie is based on factual things, and you know what? A lot of people can relate to this
my
guy's
movie was
life.
Factual. How was my movie not factual?
Well, I'm just saying.
It's a true story of the star.
It's a biography.
Not really so much biography because they added stuff in there.
It's a biography that was made into a movie.
Like Goodfellas.
You know what I mean?
Like Goodfellas.
If it's about somebody's life, it's a bio.
That was Goodfellas, but it was also not just solely on it.
I would have said how more exciting it is because now we have more free reign. That's I think you actually like hindered yourself by saying that it's more factual than my movie because it's not.
No. Your movie is factual with how it runs a casino. But what I'm saying is
no, that actually happened to that guy though.
Yes, but most people cannot relate to your movie.
Most people weren't born in 1902 like where your movie is going from either.
It's 68.
Yeah, my mom. You think she talks about that movie all the time? No. So there you go.
That was a beautiful era of the mafia, especially in Italian neighborhoods.
I'd rather watch Forrest Gump.
That's fine.
I want to learn about all that era and all those things.
I'd rather throw out that double VCR cassette tape I have of Casino.
The funny thing is, no matter what, Joe does want to talk bad about Casino still. Like
It's a very good movie, but again, I'm just saying, your movie is more.
It's very haunting.
It's not original. It's not that original. You have the same cast that was in Goodfellas, minus a few people, kind of acting the same way, just held back a little bit and more refined.
Well, I mean,
the other one made it look like the Italians were all monsters.
Where the other ones were like based on a true story, kind of based on a true story. This one was actually based. It was like
Mine actually wasn't based on a true story. The only part is when he was a young kid and he witnessed the murder, and besides that,
so you should have been excited about that. But instead, you've been like sticking to the whole like it's factual. How is it?
No,
not
what
factual?
I mean is factual is about how the mafia really is run. A lot of mafia movies put in a lot of fake stuff. There's a documentary you could watch of a real mob guy watches movies about the mafia, and he goes, "This is what's wrong with it. That's what's wrong with it." Bronx Tale. He goes, that is the closest that he's seen.
I'm sorry that the mafia expert didn't like give his okay for my movie.
There's all different things. Yours is more theatrics.
But you're dealing also, if you look at it from not necessarily where we're looking at it right now as like the best gangster movie. If you're looking at it for what you're saying, as far as people can relate to it, they can relate to that guy's character way more than they can relate to that guy's character, because it talks
about the upbringing.
You don't think that a shitty marriage, shitty job, shitty life, you don't think people can relate with
and all
that?
the cocaine, the massive amounts of cocaine and drugs?
What do you mean?
And all the backstabbing?
He wasn't doing it. Yeah, fuck yeah.
I can see where things come from. It's
Goodfellas in a casino.
The most recent thing I'll put it along the lines of is Uncut Gems. It's a similar story. You see where this person is coming from, and you see him just fucking up, and you understand it. It's not necessarily like you're.
And the fact that it's happening to somebody all the way up here, and the fact that it can happen to somebody all the way down here, makes that whole situation.
Okay, here's the thing: you see a mafia movie, and let's say you were someone who wanted to join the mafia, and before you go in there, they say you could either watch your movie or my movie. Your movie would get them killed in a second. Let's say it was an undercover cop joined the mafia, and they go, "Sorry, we don't know anything except for these 2 films."
Really? Do you think this is what happened?
No, I'm just saying, theoretically. I'm just trying to say this. Bear with me. Let's say you're in that scenario, and you took your movie, you took my movie. They have a better chance of living watching my movie than yours.
Are gangster aliens abducting people and asking them to pick?
You get what I'm saying? It's an analogy. You get what I'm saying? I'm just trying to say my movie is actually how the mafia really is.
I forgot to tweeze my eyebrows. I just wanted to say something else that was completely irrelevant, so sorry.
Let's tweeze your eyebrows like all those Italian gumads.
I'm conflicted here because there's good merits with both. Yours is more like how
it really was in the mafia.
It was at that time in that location, but it's a fake story based on a true instance in someone's life,
and true events that he that he heard growing up. And that's how Scorsese did with his movies.
That's fine.
But at the same time, that's the thing between best and more realistic. It's more realistic in some ways, and in the same way that hers is more realistic, but it's just to a certain level. What makes the best gangster movie to you is how it hits you personally. So is it seeing that down home personal feeling, or is it seeing like the fantasticalness of what a gangster is like?
But here's the thing: how is Casino so great when a few years before he did Goodfellas, and it's Goodfellas in the casino? That's pretty much what it is. It kind of is, yeah. I've seen both of them many, many times. If you think about it,
Goodfellas have way more of a gangstery presence.
With all the same guys.
This one was more done.
They have Frankie Vincent in every movie. Even the background guys, the consigliaries, the all those guys are the same in every one of his movies. He uses the same guys. I get it. He does the Adam Sandler thing. He is the Adam Sandler of actual good movies.
He's the Adam Sandler of gangster movies.
And good movies.
I could pick a fucking couple of Scorsese movies that I'm like, you know what, you didn't need to do this
one.
If
you watch Departed, it has such a strong
there's
feeling.
One of them.
It has such a strong feeling in a way of it's a Scorsese movie. Then you have this guy who actually writes something who actually has been around that more than Scorsese has.
That movie reminds me of like a gangster Ocean's 11 movie.
Well, if you want to go by box office,
holy
of course,
shit, are we just like finally like seeing a pattern?
If you want if you go by box office, it goes by you. But anyone that I know that is a big buff into mob movies, they always mention that, or if they forget to mention Bronx Tale and they go, oh shit, that's a game changer. And they're like, That's different for a lot of reasons.
You're talking about hypothetical arguments that you've had with people that aren't here. You're talking to me
I
and Dallas.
everybody.
Well, you're talking
Cody,
to me.
Mike, everybody.
Okay. I'm still stuck in the middle. One last time. Tell me why yours is the best.
I already told you.
Yes.
Rewind it.
No, tell me one more time. I just need to refresh because there's too many things that are getting to a level. I just want to go on the core basis of the argument. Why is yours the best and why is his not?
Well, first of all,
I've never seen his movie, so I can't really tell you why his isn't. Just from what he's told me, though, it sounds terrible. I'm never going to watch it because of how you talked about it, by the way.
Watch it and tell me how I should have said it.
Okay. I'll do that. Like, see? You should have just said that at the beginning. I would have been like, let him win. Let me just watch the movie really fast. No. Again, I will say it again. It's basically a movie where no matter where on the scale you're at, you know, in the scheme of things, you can really relate to this character. Not necessarily have, you know, your wife overdose and people like James Woods in your life, but you can also, you know how it feels to just be backstabbed.
Overdosing stuff happened to Goodfellas too.
Who does it happen to?
Oh, that one girl that was supposed to be watching the kids and she had coke all over her face and she was passed out in the bathroom.
In Goodfellas?
Yeah.
Whoa, what? I don't remember that scene.
We're getting sidetracked.
Anyway, sorry. Yeah. Anyway, no, it's basically just watching somebody.
Oh, he overdosed when his kid was being born in the hospital too because he had coke all over his nose.
Right.
2 overdoses. What's the best overdose movie? Goodfellas, not Casino.
Oh, fuck you. No, absolutely not. Requiem for a Dream.
I meant out of those 2. I was being a dick.
No, it's just basically it's a good time period piece too. I like to watch that. I like to watch, you know, the beginning of something and it transpire, like especially with Sharon Stone's clothes, because they always told you what part of the 70s you were in. They always told you what part of the 80s you were in. Her hairstyles as well.
It fit with
you know what I mean?
Times.
Exactly. The outfits, hands down. I mean, Scorsese's got to be have the best fucking
set designers.
Oh, for sure.
Because they always win every award.
Costume designers.
Costume designers. Holy shit! Like down to the shoes, down to the everything. You know, even the kids' outfits and shit. It's like they just brought kids in just so they could dress them. You know
I think it's his people who did Boardwalk Empire.
You can just tell that there's such an aura every time he makes a movie, and whoever's there, you know what I mean. They fit that role like perfectly. And you know what I mean, or they're not. You know, they're not going to be in the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just how it is.
You fit it or you don't. You got the look or you don't.
It is just always wrong. You know what I mean? With I don't know. It's not necessarily the happiest movie, but it's a very real movie. It's a very, you know what I mean, and the fact that it was based on, you know, true events. And I always like watching somebody's first time watching this movie. You know what I mean? Like I think Ty was watching on AMC. Like, you know, they always have the fucking. Yeah. Scorsese hours. Yeah, like here we go. Did Scorsese, did he do Godfather?
No, that was Mario Puzo.
Don't laugh at me.
That was
Don't fucking laugh at me.
No, Joseph, why is yours the best gangster movie?
Hands down.
And why is hers not?
Hands down. The dialogue is beautiful. The things that are being said in it, the points that they make in it, even the advice that he gives that young kid. You watch it, and then when I watch a movie, I am really big into dialogue. I love when there's great dialogue where I have my hands in my head. I'm like, holy shit, that was great. I never thought of that. That was amazing. The dialogue is amazing. The acting's amazing. Yeah, holy shit.
Yeah, why don't you read a fucking book if you love dialogue so much?
I'm deaf. That's not fair. Point away from you. So I would actually have to go with, I didn't interrupt you.
You did.
Twice, actually, but continue.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Mr. CNN over here. Anyway, so we're gonna build that wall and keep Sam out.
Fuck you guys.
But really,
thank you.
When it comes down to it, it's dialogue, the script writing in it. That's what makes a movie really great. Instead of all the cliche things that he puts in every one of his fucking movies, like that Sam picked. It's the same kind of cliche type stuff that makes it look like they're all the same in every movie, the same kind of characters. Sometimes you're like, I kind of like this guy, but he's still a vicious monster.
Pretty sure your guy's been in Spy Kids, so shut the fuck up.
No, he wasn't. That was Sylvester Stallone.
Pretty sure your guy has been in too.
So what?
I like Spy Kids, actually.
You like the movie Legend with Tom Hardy, right?
I like Tom Hardy's face.
Replay twins? Yeah, okay, he had a hand in that. So what I'm saying is my movie, and like what she said, the set designs, everything was good. Hers takes a place over a period of time, so you see everything changed. Again, my movie, in all fairness, it is so good, yet it's a low budget film and it still hits people like that, and it's also a cult favorite. There's got to be a reason behind it. And most of the people and I've talked to a lot of people about this, most people will say Bronx Tale does pull it in just for the dialogue alone, and it was amazing the bond, that acting bond where Sonny and Calogero had together. That was really, really good. And then the relationship that he had with his father, and I think De Niro did a great job first time directing.
I think I know what to get you for Christmas.
What?
A gay romance novel.
Anyway, that was not in the movie. But it'd be in a Scorsese movie, though.
All right, Dallas. Just announce me as the winner, and let's get on with this.
No, I think even though I would prefer your film as a best gangster movie, I'm going to have to give it to Joe on his argument on why it itself is better.
So that he can read subtitles instead of reading a book?
No, I'm guessing it's just more detailed on the reasons why, what makes his better. And dialogue is just a part of it. But that is a really big thing for a film to be good.
You're right.
Dialogue is everything.
You're right. Yeah.
Sorry, there's no monsters with pitchforks and axes killing people, but that's what you're used to.
I prefer.
I just watched Hotel Transylvania.
Yeah, I prefer the bigger show of like the ideal of gangster. You see Casino. That's what I see. I'm like, it's not. It's in a way sort of not even really a gangster movie. That's just a gangster.
Here's the cool thing, and thank you for going with me on that. I agree with you. I think I made a good argument, but what I'm going to say is, if I mention a quote or a scene in a movie, do you know how many people get confused with Goodfellas and Casino? You mention the scene from Bronx Tale, everyone's like, oh shit, it's Bronx Tale.
I also haven't seen the movie, so I've literally gone 31 years of my life without this movie.
You kind of should have prepared better.
Movie.
You should have prepared better and watched my movie.
Why would I have watched it?
You're debating me against it to see who's the best argument about which picture is better. So you have nothing to go on. I'm able to.
What do you mean? Your movie was so stupid. I didn't feel like watching. I literally was able to tear your movie up without even having to watch it.
You didn't really tear it up because you haven't seen it.
What do you mean? I got you to fucking change your whole fucking game plan halfway through our debate.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
It's a really good movie.
What do you mean? You were sitting there saying that it was a factual movie, and then we went back and we
about
actually
his life is when he was young. Yeah, I missed.
No, and then exactly, like literally the entire time, and I was able to make you completely turn.
Okay, but imagine how great this argument would have been if you actually saw it.
That's the thing, Joe. I didn't want to actually hurt you.
See, I'm actually someone in a debate that will actually admit that, hey, I might have misspoke.
There was.
You over here a lot.
It was misspoke, but then there was a backtrack on something. But you were being very coy with certain words, not saying anything specifically either. So we were both being a little iffy.
What do you mean not saying anything?
On the whether your film was based on a true story, how much it was very non-committal, and then got more committal to the statement as the conversation went on.
No, what do you mean? I started off by saying my movie was based on an actual events, like it happened, like that character actually.
Well, the events
existed.
were true in the beginning, and then again, he was raised in the Bronx growing up, so he knows how it should look.
But you were very adamant that they also embellished a lot of things.
Sam, you should be a politician.
Just 100 straight to life.
No, because if it has anything to do with people that are lesser than you, like right now, then no. I'll just go to bed angry every night.
She goes to bed angry every night anyways.
Nope, I don't. I tell you not to.
Well, who do you guys think won?
Let
us know down in the description who won, who's next.
Dallas is the only winner because he gets to enjoy the show today and actually drink a beer.
Dallas wanted to give him the fucking win because he's Italian and Dallas didn't want to be racist.
That's not. There was also, he actually brought up, it hit a lot of different categories. There was this whole thing about liking this girl, not wanting to be embarrassed, and then like his friends even beating him yelling out some slangs, and like made him rethink. It's a really serious, it's a really good movie.
Exactly.
But it's not what I think of when well, those are all famous and good stories for a reason. They tell you a story that you usually don't see.
But what's cool is to make a mob movie, and you know damn well it's a mafia movie, but they could still throw that in there, and it fits so well. That's a very difficult thing to do.
I don't know. They did it in Forrest Gump, and that's not even a gangster movie until you made it into one by watching fucking Bronx Tale. If I watch that movie and it fucking reminds me of Forrest Gump in the first 10 minutes, I'm gonna fucking punch you.
Well, it's weird. He starts off, there's a feather flying everywhere.
So why is it not charging? I don't know. But we did stuff.
We did it. I won.